saw that there was the synergy and potential collaboration of what our companies do. So we decided to jump on a virtual meeting. We spoke for hours about the importance of organizations having vision, mission, core values, and how this really helps their business when it comes to hiring, retention, building a great culture, and then overall just business growth. And it was just such a fantastic conversation, wasn't it?
Yes, fantastic.
We thought to ourselves, like, why aren't we sharing this and doing this on a podcast together and just share this nugget of wisdom on our show? So welcome, Julie. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Samantha, for that introduction and just how we connected. And for your invitation to be here today. I am really excited to be here with you and to be sharing the secrets on this hot topic in the dental industry. We've put together 3 good takeaways today that people can implement right away. So if you have not already got a pen and paper, go get it. You don't want to miss out. And before we jump in, Samantha, I wanted to take an opportunity to congratulate you on your recent partnership with Henry Schein. That's such fantastic news.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's definitely an honor for our, small HR firm to be partnered up and have that recognition from a global leader in our industry to be recognized as ourselves as a leader in HR. So
Absolutely.
I'm still beaming from it. I'm super pumped.
That's awesome.
Great. Well, thanks so much for joining us again. And why don't I know people, they already know you. You are all over the social media channel with helping practices, but I'd love for you just to spend a little bit just catching us up on who you are, what your company does, and how you help dentists.
Absolutely. Thanks for the opportunity. Just to tell you a little bit about my business. My company is called Julie Friesen Dental Coaching and Consulting. I help dentists across Canada to get more yeses and successes from their teams, from their patients, and in their practices. Simply said, I partner with dentists and providing coaching and support solutions that are personalized to help dentists get from where they are to where they want to be. We work together with the team to create a plan, a very clear plan, and to be able to implement personalized solutions that work, that are really easy to implement and that get results fast. I've been called the go-to coach for team engagement, team alignment, to being able to elevate and equip team performance, and to be able to develop leadership and be able to support dentists, treatment coordinators, practice managers, and any leader in developing that leader skills. That's really needed right now. Mm-hmm. I've been the go-to coach as well for being able to implement immediate case acceptance and grow and elevate performance and profit growth with ease. So those are some things that are a little bit about my business, and really excited, Samantha. Also, I've just enhanced my virtual training platform. So a lot of opportunities to be able to help dentists and their teams, both with traditional coaching as well as virtual platforms. As you know, we're not bringing people into practice. So connect with me. I'm happy to tell you more and help you to get breakthrough results you're looking for.
I love it. I love it. How you said just helping practices get more yeses, get more team engagement, and ultimately that leads to successes. So yes. I know this has been a really tough year for everybody with the curveballs that 2020 has thrown our way. But what have you been seeing happening in our industry this year?
Well, I think a lot of the things that we're seeing in our industry right now are things we've had struggles with for a long period of time. This unusual event has, heightened some of those existing issues we have been struggling. And it's actually, put some things into the front seat in priority. I would say the main challenge for most practices right now is staffing, trying to find enough staff to fill the vacancies in our practices. So I would say that's the main challenge right now.
100%. And I think you brought up some really good points that if there was, some gaps, let's say in the foundation or some rocky points within their organization, that is definitely going to get pushed out when there's a time of crisis and stress, right?
Absolutely.
So, definitely, like you said, so many things that are brought to the forefront. And one of them, of course, I'm going to mention is HR. And then all the aspects, not only just with the compliance piece, with employee handbooks and occupational health and safety, but like you said, hiring and team morale. So let's dive into that juicy piece. So you mentioned that one of the challenges was hiring and retention. Why do you think that is?
I think one of the reasons that why we're having this staffing gap right now is a lot of the practices, when practices opened up, some practices came back all as a unit. They all came back into the industry as a whole. And some practices brought teams back a little bit by little bit. And there was a gap of time in there. And that allowed a lot of team members to seek for full-time opportunities to get started on work right away. Some people that were in that team members were looking to say, hey, this I'm not back. This wasn't quite a match. So they found a practice that maybe was a better match and a better fit for them. Number 3, I would say, is also some team members said, you know what, during this uncertainty of this environment, uncertainty of what the future is for dentistry, I'm going to take this opportunity and change careers. I'm going to move into my next adventure. Yeah. I would also say some dentists also took the same opportunity when not bringing certain people back. Being able to take time to say, hey, you know what, that wasn't a match for us. And we are looking for our top talent, our A players, to move our practices forward right now. Yeah. And then the final one that I would say as well as is a lot of practice during this time have really grown, and that's really excited. They brought back their full team. Yeah. There's been this surge of holdback of people with dental needs, and now for 3 months, and now they're building their practices and growing their teams forward. So anything you would add to that?
I mean, I think you nailed all of those pieces, but most importantly, I think the common denominator with that is just, I think everybody really focused on the alignment piece, right? And I think, for me, when the pandemic first broke out, it was a huge wake-up call to go, am I happy? Do I love what I'm doing? Life is short. I want to spend my time in things that inspire me, give me energy, and drive me forward. And I think a lot of people did that in one way or another. But like you were mentioning, that was the crucial component of deciding, am I going to come back? Do I love, where I work every single day? Do I feel rewarded and inspired? And if the answer was no, then we're going to find our happiness somewhere else.
Yes.
So why don't we just kind of dive into that piece a little bit more in terms of the secrets, the priorities on how to, if we're finding ourselves in that position right now where we need to hire, how do we attract them?
Well, I love this question. I'm really excited to hop in because we've taken some time. You and I have come together as a HR specialist, as a dental coach. We've done the research. We've put together this really great 3-point plan that begins to be able to do, and we've done it fun. We've done it in a top 3 countdown, which makes it super fun. We're going to start with the number 3 priority right now and work ourselves back into number 1. So if you are watching and tuning in right now, stay tuned. We are just starting right now with coming on to number 1. And so I'm really excited about this, Samantha. So the number 1 priority right now is, how are we going to attract that top talent? How are we going to attract that top talent to come in? And I would suggest right now is trying to create clarity. Get clarity right now. Take time to get focused or refocused on what we're trying to accomplish with your work. What are you trying to accomplish with your work, with your practice, with your life? And creating that clear vision, that clarity, being able to then align that or come alongside, how are we going to accomplish that? What are we going to do and how we do it? What are our value structure that's going to help us to be able to accomplish that on a daily basis? For example, you might be talking about, okay, we need to have teamwork to accomplish this vision. We need to have, patient 5-star customer service. And creating that value structure allows us to guide our behaviors, and we can measure performance by. Then the third piece is actually saying, how are we going to accomplish this on a daily basis? How are we going to accomplish our vision with these guiding behaviors on a daily basis to accomplish what we want to do long-term with our work? Creating this clarity, Samantha, I think really begins to be able to marry into that piece of structure so that when we are beginning to have clarity, and I've actually written this down. So again, if you're a writer person, you've got your pen and paper, I'm actually going to read this because I want to get this correct because it's a really good line, but here we go. Unless you first know what you want, it's hard to attract the talent that you need. So unless you first
emojis,
emojis. So it's a good saying. So unless you first know what you want, it's hard to attract to know what you need. So creating that structure allows us to know who we are, what we stand for, and how we are different.
Mhm.
So when we are drawing in people into applying for our jobs, we can say, hey, this is who we are, what we stand for, and how we're different. Do you want to be a part of this?
Yes.
And people will, either say, yeah, want to be a part of that, great. Or they may say, no, you know what, that doesn't really line up where I want to go.
Right.
But if they do say yes, then we're able to say, okay, you know that this means that they become accountable to it. They become, they own it, they drive it, and they've agreed to it.
Yeah.
Now we've intentionally created that culture, that team to achieve our goals. They're on the same page with purpose, clarity, and direction. The things that we seek with practices so much in our teams.
Mm-hmm.
This also really aligns with creating clarity, creating structure. We as a practice owner or people that are creating, we get more passion. We get a little bit more excited.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, top talent wants and people that are looking for new jobs, if you're excited, say, hey, this is who we are, what we stand for, and how we're different. Do you want to be a part of this? This is who we are. I mean, that's engaging.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really draws in some of the key elements to top talent, long-term employees, looking for clear communication, support, looking for purpose and direction. And with that clarity of saying, this is who we are, what we stand for, and how we're different, we really begin to draw in those people that will help us move forward with achieving our goals.
Yeah. Yeah. There are so many great things that you mentioned there. And one point that I really kind of want to drive this message home is that a lot of times practice owners are like, I want to find A players. I want to find great team members, top talent, people who are just ambitious, they're driven. I tell them what to do and they just go and do it. Well, guess what? A players want to work for A player employers. Yeah. So if we need to attract them completely different than just putting 2 or 3 sentences on a job posting, right? And the interview process has to be completely different. The type of questions that we're asking, what's included in their job descriptions to hold them accountable to those pieces. And then again, what you mentioned, measuring their performance. So if they see that they need to be doing this, and this is how you're measuring and monitoring success in this position, this is what's going to hold and put all of these pieces together. So like you said, it's so important to have the guiding principles, which is your mission, vision, core values. It's the why, the how, and, where are we going type of, pieces. And it's so important. It's not just a mission statement that goes on your website or it just goes on a wall. This is what we live, we breathe.
Well said.
And when you operate that way, we just, like you said, we're inspired. Like if I'm going to work every single day, I want to do something that's much bigger than the 4 walls in my operatory. I want to have meaning and purpose every day. And that's what people are really looking for. So I think those were great points. And I hope you guys wrote those notes down because that's really going to be the key factor of finding some really great people. So now let's go through the employee cycle. So let's say we've done all of the things that you just walked us through. We found some great people. Now, what do we do next? How do we engage them?
Absolutely. And that's a great question. That would be like the number 2 on our takeaway, top 3 countdown is number 2. This is an important one. How do we keep our teams engaged? This has been a huge part of the whole process for many years now, keeping teams engaged. It's still on the list. But one way to be able to keep our teams engaged, and the importance of that is to be able to do goal setting. Do future planning and mapping for the future. Being able to do goal setting together as a team creates certainty. It creates a forward movement and purpose, direction. People get excited being part of a plan moving forward. And it helps us to work together and feel like we're a part of something. Another big part of the future planning and working together, teams begin to feel heard, seen, and understood as they collaborate, which is so important. I would suggest making an environment where it's safe for people to share stress, safe for people to share some of their concerns, and to make goals moving forward to be able to resolve those together. A big piece with this begins to, the pluses of working together begin to increase morale, increase mental health, and to also decrease stress, all by working together, planning, mapping for the future. And I'm going to put a big star right here, right now, because the important piece is this. A lot of our teams are working remotely. Mm-hmm. And so we really want to pay a close attention to be able to, adjust our communication to include them, to be a part of collaborating and goal setting for the future.
Yes, again, so many great points and so many things that are very relevant right now, especially with remote working. As you can tell, none of our team is here right now. We're all just working remotely from home during this lockdown, but it's super important to make them feel included. Like if we want them to feel like, for example, another piece that some doctors mention when they're looking for great team members is, I want somebody to, treat this as if it was their own business. Mm-hmm. Well, we need to make them feel that way. We need to encourage that stakeholder and shareholder mentality by putting them in and getting them involved in business strategies. So whether that's every quarter, we do a business meeting where we figure out what's our marketing plan, what's our revenue goals, like they should be a part of it because they are a part of it, right?
Yes.
They're people who are working with you, with the patients, with doing recalls. So how can we get everybody involved to reach these goals together? And then even just simple things like having, once or twice a year doing performance reviews,
Absolutely.
Doing goal setting sessions. One of my favorite strategies to do is it's literally a 5-minute conversation, but it's using the GROW coaching model. So what are our goals? What's the reality of the situation? What opportunities exist and what's the way forward? Yes. So we can do this on a monthly basis, on every 2-3 months, but it's just a great way for us to see, are we on track? What do you need from me? How can I help you succeed? Is basically what those questions tie down to, right? And then now they feel that you are invested in their success, not only professionally, but personally. And then that's going to get them more engaged in their work, more motivated. And what's that going to equal? It's driving the business forward. It's driving growth. It's, getting the great results that you're looking for. So we talked about some really great pieces in terms of attraction, engagement. Now the other piece is really just seeing how we can get that whole retention piece. So let's dive into the number one and most
number one. Very exciting. So if you start, here we are. We've come to that number one. I love it. This countdown's super fun to do as well. But exactly that. How do we retain our top talent? And this is actually a number one concern right now in practices. And I would suggest the big thing is make sure that they're still important, that you see and hear your team, that you do not lose sight of them. Often especially if we have gaps in our team right now and we're looking for new members to join in, we forget about the people that are behind us, the people that have been supporting us to this point. True. And what we do know is top talent, long-term employees, what they are looking for is the basic structures we've already talked about. They are looking for clarity. They are looking for structure. They are looking for, passion, a place that has passion, engagement. But another big piece that long-term top talent employees are looking for, they want to grow. They want to grow. They want to learn. They want to goal set and build their career and contribute to a practice. So it's very important to find ways to connect with your team, for them to set goals, to continue to grow and learn their skill sets. One of the things, and I know that you're a stat person too, where we love stats and anything that's measurable.
Yeah.
Is what I learned is this: 1/3 of employees do not, number one, think that their culture or that their team is a long-term culture. And number two, a big thing is that teams often feel the big pressure is that they haven't had the opportunity to have the proper training to do the skills that they are required. There's a gap there. There's this real feeling pressure. I didn't get the training to really be at the level I'm at. And we're finding that there's that gap of actually producing productive teams. The one neat part is that if we are now moving from hiring people to hiring for, a short-term to long-term, but also for retention, maintaining our teams, if we have those structures set in place, and build a culture that is healthy, we can begin to empower our employees correctly. That's the key to really popping your practice and growing your practice forward. Right there, getting that key culture right, and then empowering your employees, you will have breakthrough results.
Yeah, so true. And like you were saying, I think, and we're seeing this more so right now, where perhaps if a practice is short-handed, they're understaffed. So guess where all of that extra work falls onto? Your existing team.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, a lot of people are not only getting burnt out just from COVID and what it's done to our lives, but also just the amount of work now. Some of these assistants are now having to also do admin, to like also do all of the, almost be like a nurse too, and do health screenings and temperature checks. So the workload probably has increased by 50%, I'm going to safe to say. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a cause for burnout. So in order for us to keep that engagement going, and like you said, creating that healthy culture, that's the full circle here. Because mm-hmm. if we do have these vacant positions within the practice, if we have a team member who loves our culture, loves what we do, feels inspired every single day, guess what? They're going to tell their friends that there's an opening and that they'd be lucky to come and work at that practice. And that's where we want it to all come back to. And that's why this point is so important, way before, attracting and even finding people. That's the number one secret. So you gave us so much great information about how to create a good culture and how that is way more important now than ever before. So how can practices start, connecting with you and learning about your services to help them get more yeses and more successes?
Absolutely. No, they can connect with me. If you have any questions about today's content, or want to have some support in implementing some of the solutions we talked about, you can definitely reach out to me. I'd love to meet you, love to hear more about where you want to go with your practice and your goals. You can connect with me directly either by email, which is Julie Friesen, JuliFriesen, number 1, at gmail.com. So my name plus number 1, gmail.com. I would also love to connect with you. If you are on social media, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and also here on Facebook. So please reach out. Love to meet you. Love to put together some solutions that would fit your time, your goals, your location, and your budget. We will find a solution that works exactly right for you to get you moving forward.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today.
It's been fantastic.
3 amazing tips and strategies for practice owners to start implementing in their business right now to attract and retain top talent. So thanks again, Julie.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you very much, Samantha. It's been a real pleasure and a privilege to be here.
Lots of